Hello everyone, how you doing? We've got some sunshine coming in my window. How about you? Hope all was well with your week. Just waiting for the computer to catch up, and we will get started. This paper is from the celebration, so you can get a look at that. Here we go. Just make it a little bigger so I can make sure I stay on screen. Not that one. Wrong one. Ah. There we go. Okay. Now I can see. So, isn't this pretty paper? Hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining today. All right. So, again, this is from the Celebration catalog. This is good from now until February 28th. And this is one of those that you earn for free. So, don't forget to look in the mini catalog to find the items you want that will equal up to 60, and then you get this 12 by 12 for free. And the other side of it is bliss patterns. So very pretty patterns. I mean, these you could use anywhere, really. Actually, these too. So, really cool paper pack. Don't be afraid of the colors, okay? And that is the Blooming Impressions 12 by 12. If you need the number or something, just get back to me and let me know in the comments, and I will get you the numbers. As always, thank you ever so much for shopping with me. JackieBloom.stampinup.net. Enough about that. Okay, so here's the pieces that we're working with today. Uncover all my bits and pieces. So we have a standard top fold card that is 4 1/4 by 11. We've got a 2 1/2 inch circle. This pattern paper is 2 7/8 by 5 1/8, and then we have 2 of the 3 by 5 1/4, one for the outside, one for the inside. This piece is 1 by 5 1/4. We've got our little banner, and then we've got this little piece, which is 1/2 inch by 3. So this will be our inside, this will be our front. So this is gonna layer like that, and something like this, and like that. But first we have to address this piece. So let's start with that piece, get all these out of the way, and I'm gonna bring in my trimmer. Okay, so I've already scored it. I don't know if you can see it, but I've already scored it at the 5 1/2, because remember, it's going to be top fold. But before we do that, make sure I'm getting this the right way. I want to take 1 inch off of this side. So I'm going to put it at 1 inch, and I'm going to bring my cutter blade down, and I only want to go to the fold. So sorry if my head gets in the way. You can check by going back and forth, and there's also a cross on your trimmer, but I like to make sure that I just kind of do that. So we have 1 inch cut to our fold, okay? Let's get rid of that for a minute. And I need a pair of scissors, and we are going to cut off the rest of that inch. And it didn't quite go, it's just hanging by a thread. So I'm gonna, instead of pull it, I'm gonna cut it. All right, so that's just extra. If you didn't have this banner piece, you could use it as your banner piece. Okay, there's a piece of score tape. That's to remind me that I need that there before I glue that piece down. So now I'm just going to line up my edge, the bottom. This is a little easier when you score it first. Line up my edge and give it a little crease. So that's prep number 1, okay? All right, number 2, let's see. Let me show you the colors we're using. Shy Shamrock, Daffodil Delight, Pumpkin Pie, and Memento Black, okay? So we can stick that aside for now, because we are going to deal with this 1 by 5 1/4 and the circle. And the circle, actually, let's show you a few stamps. This is Corner in Bluhm. And this is also in the Celebration catalog, so you can earn this one. And I love the patterns in this. Or the, you know, the nice corners. The next one is Spring Corners, which this is an online set, and I used the Happy Birthday for that one. This is Mixed Labels. I used the label. Now, I did stamp this onto my label, but it didn't quite come out right. It was really heavy-handed. It will just fit. I would suggest that you stamp this and then cut it out. It'll be a lot easier than trying to figure it out because these are the clean stamps and you can't see through them, okay? So just a little tip on that. And then this circle comes from the Spotlight on Nature dies. And I love these because you have tons of graduating circles. So they start out here and then they go back and forth till you have all of them. I think I have this one in the wrong spot. This one should go here. So they go back and forth. So it's a whole row of each, okay? Don't need this anymore, so I'm just gonna pop that in there. Spotlight on Nature. And let me double check. Everybody hear me okay? Lisa Yost, hey friend. Oh, hi. I got a notification. All right. And let's see. What else did I need to show you? I think that's it. Let me just stick this banner in here so I don't lose it. And there's wonderful pieces of extra bits in this Mixed Labels one. All right, let's get those out of the way. We're dealing with this, and we are going to stamp this piece, which is this piece from the Corners in Bluhm. And then I also stamped this one. And the reason why I pre-did these is because you need to heat set that so you can move on to what we're doing next, because we are using a bit of water. So whenever you, even though Memento is permanent, if you're going to be wetting it, or even just using your blends, your markers, you kind of want to let that sit and get really dry before you move on to a coloring step, okay? All right, so I'm gonna get a couple blocks out, and let's start with our lightest color because I only have the one water brush, and I am just going to, on my block, put a little bit of color. Actually, I think I'll do a little bit more. I'm not gonna color all of it, I just want to show you how I did it. And as soon as you're done with the ink on your block, wash it off right away. Otherwise, you know, darker colors, reds, they will stain your block if you're not careful. And we need a little bit of green. Sorry for all the noise in the glass. There we go. All right. Now, I put a little bit of water in my tray. You can spray a little bit on there, but I want to be able to control how light or how dark I get it. You can also put it in your water brush, okay? And this one's already wet, so I'm just kind of drying it off a little bit. I'll make sure I stay, make sure I stay in camera. And hopefully, like I said, my head doesn't get in the way. I'm gonna start with the lightest color, which is the yellow. Need to reference what I did. Okay, so I'm gonna take just a tiny bit of water. And I'm just gonna mix a little bit. You can always pick up more, so start with light. And I am just literally going to just dot it on, if you will. And I'm not dotting over everything. You could, but it just kind of, that's all I did. Super easy, okay? If I can do that, you can do that. On this one, I was a little bit more strategic, and I wanted kind of the darker color. And another thing is, since I'm adding water, I'm gonna go in here and kind of be intentional as to not go over the black. You know, you just color it in. That won't, even though I've heat set this, if you stay away from those lines, of black, it will make sure that it doesn't fuzz out, since we are using a bit of water. And it just makes the project look better. And you'll see on the next one I didn't quite do that. And it's kind of a little bit more blotchy. So that's all I did for the yellow color. Oh, don't forget your bud. So I'm just going along and adding a little bit of color. Okay? And then wash off your, I don't know if you can see this. I have just a little bit of water on my lovely thing. I don't know what it's called. The cleaning pad. I don't know. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to take this off of my block right away. Now we're going to go into the orange. And I just get a little puddle so that way I can start out light because this is a darker color. And I'm just going to go back and I want the kind of the bits where it usually is darker. And as you go down with the watercolor, it's going to get lighter. So my thinking is that these buds aren't opening, these buds are opening quicker, if that makes sense. So I'm putting the darker up there and just letting it naturally come out as we go down. And I'll show you, I'll hold this up. So over here, I just did the opposite. Make sure I'm seeing on camera. And I just went up here and just did the opposite, kind of let them blend together. And then this is the bottom. Although I think I did that wrong, but oh well, it's my flower. It can be whatever it wants to be. Whether it would look like that in nature or not. You know, hey. And then I can get a little bit more water to blend here. Just so it's not got any white. So that's how I did that, okay? The green, I just colored it in with green. And again, well, I guess I did do a little bit more than just colored in with green. I made a little bit of a water spot, okay? Dry off your tip and pick up just a little bit of that. And this one, I actually, I did this way. I just colored kind of halfway with this lighter color, okay? It's kind of halfway. And then I went back and picked up a little bit more to do the bottom part. So I'm just giving it a little bit of two colors, if you will. That one didn't blend quite as much, so I'm gonna do a little bit more. And that's all I did to color these. Then I also went along these little lines just to add a little bit more green in there, like that. This one's basically the same way. I went on either side of that dark part and let the rest of the lighter color of ink kind of disperse on the edges, okay? Nothing to it. You can let it dry and go over it again if you want it a little darker. But just the best tip I can give you about using the water is don't make sure that your brush is fairly dry and that you don't have a big puddle of water in your ink. So fairly dry and it will work great. And then just make sure that you wash it off in between colors and at the end. And I like to form a little bit of a point with mine, being careful when I put it away. Let's wash these off, especially this orange color. That will, I don't know what it is about like the reds and stuff. They have like stronger pigment of color or something. All right, so I do have those already done. Here's this one, and you'll see this one in just a second. All right, let's see, moving on. So we've got that prepped. We've got our flower prepped. We've got this. So let me show you where this flower goes. So I put a little bit of tearing tape here, and then you can use regular tape, you know, whatever other tape you want. You just want something strong right there. This is going to be, I don't know if I told you, I didn't. This is going to be a gift card holder. So we want it to be fairly strong. And I haven't learned yet not to go too far past my adhesive, but I want something a little stronger. So I'm just putting a couple of pieces on there to make sure it's, oops. And that's a good time to tell you why we should use the silicone mat. So that way when we're taping, it's not going to get on our glass mat and be sticky on our card. Okay, so there's that. It's sticky there. I'm gonna take this off of here. Burnish that on. When you put it on, just rub it with your fingernail. And then if you can't get this little tip off, I go in the middle because it's sometimes easier to lift off that piece off, okay? All right, now this. And I am going to go to the edge. My sample one is also to the edge. So this is not 5.5, it's 5 1/4. So we need to split the distance on each end by just a little bit. So I just kind of hover it over where I think it needs to be until I like where it is. Okay, so now we have this little pocket, okay? Now let's address the, actually, we'll keep going with the inside. So we've got that 3 by 5 1/4 and the 1/2 by 3. This is just a little interest in the inside. I'm just not used to this tape yet. Okay, little interest on the inside, and I like to line it up on my grid so that way I can put it exactly where it needs to be so it's nice and straight. And then we will add a little bit of adhesive to all these corners and put this in here. Now, one thing you want to remember, I was pretty fanatical about making sure I got that balanced. So that way we can balance this one. And sometimes I'll turn my card this way because I want to get, and I'm just going to lay it down again so I can move it around, hopefully, till I get it where I like it. That looks pretty good. Needs to come up just a smidge to be even with that other piece. And over just a little bit. There we go. And then I put that down, okay? Same with this. Take these off of here. I'll leave them up here in case you didn't get something. And this piece, again, was 2 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm going to put that piece onto here. And you tape how you want to tape it. I am not having good luck with that today. So I'm going to switch to some green glue. This gives you a little more wiggle room time too to move it around. Okay. Again, make sure it's going the way you want. And this is just a teeny tiny grid line. So I am just going to hold it with my finger there until I get it where I want. Grid line. It's just a little edging. It's not a grid line. So then this is going to go on here. Again, our little wiggle room time. And now I want to make sure that I get it lined up with this one. So I'm going to turn it this way. Watch my fingers. And then I'm going to set it down. So I'm lining up this edge with this edge. I'm going to turn it to where I can see it and make sure I like it where it is that way. And a lot of times with this ink, I will grab a big block and just set it on so it can kind of give it a second to dry, if you will. Okay. Oh, do I not have another one? I don't. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So let that kind of do its thing. Now we've got our banner. and a circle, and I didn't finish coloring, but that's okay. I can catch it up in a bit. So this, I wanted to do Happy Birthday in black, which I should have just done because, you know, it's just Happy Birthday in black. And I like to check it. It's just a little one, so I want to make sure I don't have it too much on one side or another. So here's a good tip for you. When you're using these really juicy pads, if you can get it to where nothing is hanging over the block or this piece of rubber, you know that you have inked it up good. Sorry if my head's in the way. And you haven't over inked it. That seems to be the challenge, getting used to the new squishy pads, which is great. They have tons of ink in them. And I've also heard somebody gave a tip of if, when it's open, pretend it's, well, I can open it. It's open, right? And there's too much ink. You can take the back of a spoon and just push the ink kind of away from the center, and then it'll be a little bit less juicy for, you know, because we usually typically stamp in the center. The other thing I try and do is stamp all the way around and avoid the center sometimes because you're always stamping in the center, right? So this piece I just put down flat, but I'm not done coloring, so I don't want to put this piece on. And this piece I raised up, but you've got to remember that this has to open. So I kind of put it where I want. I turn it over, and then I add my adhesive or my dimensionals on here, so that way I know where I need to put that down, like so. So, and then I added a little bling, and let me show you the card that inspired this card, which was, I did a little Stampin' Up thing. I had done some things to earn this little freebie, and it was a mystery. I'm sure a lot of people that have been with Stampin' Up understand this. It was a mystery card. So basically they just tell you what to cut out of cardstock, what to cut out of your DPS, your pattern paper, what circle, what size, you know, what your words are going to go on, words to fit that, you know, images to fit this. That's all I give you. And so I was like, oh, I hope I do this right. So let me show you this finished card, which I also added some of this in color bling, which is the in color that's the 2426, and I use this, I believe it's peach pie, and I put those there. Here, let me show you a little bit close up. Hey Fonda, thanks for watching. So here's a little bit close up on those flowers. So you can see there's still a little white left here and there. You can fill it in or you can not. And then when you open it up, there's your little gift card. That, of course, I can't get back in there because, there we go, because I was holding it. So that's the card that I have for you today. And this was what I just pulled out and was using. And I cut this off. And I'm like, oh gosh, I hope I wasn't supposed to leave that on. But I did do it right, yay. And this is the card that I just pulled out some stamps and that circle that they told me how big a circle, and that's what I did. And this was just a piece I had in with this paper pack, which is the 6x6 Bokeh, I think is how you say it. And I had already embossed it with the plaster paintings. And so I just added a little bit of that purple to bring that purple out. And there we go. So there's that one. And this one was a white card base, so I didn't have any other images inside like I do this one. So, as I always do, which is your favorite, number 1 or number 2? Give it a try. It's kind of a fun one to do, quick and easy. And I hope you have a great weekend. Bye for now.